Coming up next on Rockin Real Estate Tips from the Rocket.
Hey there, everybody. This is sensational Stacey Corrigan, the Rocket from Woonsocket, super proud badass broker and founder of Peace of Mind Property Management and Real Estate Inc. And we are building an epic team in Blackstone Valley, serving Massachusetts, Rhode Island, and Connecticut. And today we're happy to bring to you from the Rockin Real Estate Tips from the Rocket, what is earnest money? And so we're going to talk about today the top 3 things that matter about earnest money. What is it? When is it due? How much do you need to put down for earnest money? And who holds it? And can the seller use the earnest money? So I know that sounds a whole lot more like 5, but those are the 3 summary points. Okay, so coming up next on Rockin Real Estate Tips from the Rocket.
One thing is for certain. Your home is likely the largest financial asset you'll own. And the big question is this: who can you turn to expertly guide you with the right strategies, next best steps, and the exact how-to? How to get started with the home buying process, how to get the best rate and terms for a loan, how to negotiate the best offer for the purchase of your largest financial asset and propel your equity so you can stay on course for you and your family's dreams. That is the question, and this video series will give you the answers. My name is Stacey Corrigan, and welcome to Rockin Real Estate Tips with the Rocket.
All right, guys. So the reason this is important is because the earnest money secures the contract. It creates an enforceable contract. Also, you want to pay attention to it because you could lose your earnest money. So the reason this is important, I'm going to give you an example. I had a client recently. I had the listing, and the buyer was concerned because the property had septic. The lender was wanting to connect it to the sewer because it was an FHA loan. And the cost to connect the whole house, because it was on a hill and it had 2 different leach fields, would have been a large amount. So if it's larger than a certain percentage, then the lender cannot force the connection. So the buyer wanted to get out based on the potential future large cost of connecting to the septic. And that wasn't a valid reason at the time that she chose to do it. She did it at the end of the transaction instead of at the more appropriate time when would have been inspection time. So because of that, the seller could have kept her deposit. We did state that the seller was intending to keep the deposit, but my seller was super kind and did negotiate on, splitting that and each person walk away with half of the deposit. So it is a risk. It's something you want to be concerned about. So let's get right into it and let's talk about what is earnest money. And so first of all, it is a good faith deposit from the buyer's behalf to the seller to state that they intend on moving forward with the transaction. It's also a legal requirement to make a contract enforceable. So it's not just desirable, it's necessary. Okay. Now, how much earnest money do you put down and when is it due? So it was serving Mass and Rhode Island. I'm going to give you those 2 examples. So first we'll talk about Rhode Island. So here's the purchase and sales agreement. So you usually put how much you're going to put down on the offer, but this details the first deposit and then initial deposit. So we usually just do $1,000 as when we're in the offer and negotiation stage. Okay. And then the second additional deposit is the balance of the total earnest money. So in this case, it was $5,000, and we shoot for an amount that is between 1 and 3%. So this was a little higher than 1% based on this total sale. Okay. In Massachusetts, this is the offer form, but it becomes an enforceable contract when both parties sign it. And then the P&S is drafted later in Massachusetts because Massachusetts does the inspection period first. So if you see here, the total purchase price was $985, and this property was in very high demand. So to make our client very competitive, we did over a 5% earnest money deposit. So the first part is with the offer. So that $1,000, then the inspections happen, and then the remaining significant portion of the deposit goes with the purchase and sales agreement. In Massachusetts, the lawyers prepare the purchase and sales agreement, and in Rhode Island, it's a standard form prepared from the MLS that the agents typically fill out. That doesn't mean that the attorney couldn't fill out one in Rhode Island. I've seen that happen. So it's usually due within, you see here, 48 hours. We could do 24 to 48 hours of the date of this agreement. Okay, so it's very important. You don't have a legal enforceable contract until that deposit is delivered. And many times the listing brokerages will hold the purchase and sales or the contract hostage until that deposit is delivered. Then they will release the documentation to get the process started. So it is really important to have your deposit check delivered and delivered promptly. Okay. Otherwise, if it's not delivered promptly, they can say, hey, we don't have a contract. They can move on to the next offer. So it is pretty serious stuff. Okay. Who holds the earnest money? So you can see here that at the bottom, typically the listing brokerage firm holds it. However, there is an opportunity for there to be other escrow agent. All right, see that at the bottom there? So the other escrow agent could be the buyer's attorney, the seller's attorney, or the buyer's brokerage. It typically goes with the listing brokerage, but I have seen some listing brokerages, due to all the fraud that's happening, refuse to hold it. So they require it to be held with one of the attorneys. It's easiest if it's with the buyer's attorney, because the buyer's attorney is the one who's the settlement agent, and they're the ones who are dispersing the funds at the end. So, but not everybody is comfortable with that. A lot of times, the seller might want it to be held with their attorney. And if that's the case, that's okay. It can happen. So most commonly, though, you're going to see with the listing brokerage. All right. Third question is, can the seller use the earnest money? So because the deposit is being held with the escrow agent, seller is not going to receive the money until the end of the transaction and the sale is either completed or it has been fallen through. Okay. So the seller does not have any access to that money. It's not recommended you ever give the seller any money. It could also violate some lending rules. And so the escrow agent is the primary holder of those funds. Okay. If the contract is terminated and there's an agreement, like I mentioned before, where the escrow funds can be dispersed to the seller, there is a form that gets signed to that effect. And it's very clear. So no funds are allowed to be dispersed without agreement. Okay. And there are times that you can lose your earnest deposit funds. So those are very important, and stay tuned because we will go over that in the next episode. Okay. So remember to choose peace, give love, and find your home with peace of mind, and stay tuned for my free offer.
Hey, it's Stacy, and I have a cool gift for you. I've taken some of my best tips and created an ultimate buyer's guide for you. It's pretty thorough, and it takes you from considering buying a house to closing on your new home. And I want to give it to you for free, just as a thank you for listening to the show. No fluff, no gimmicks, just pure actionable ideas for you to use instantly. You can grab it right now at pompmre.com/buying. BUYING. Should be right there on the screen to help you out. And do you know anyone who could benefit from this episode? If so, please share it with them. No pressure. We just want to help as many people as we can. Also, if you found something interesting in this episode, send me a quick message and let me know what was good, what was helpful, or hey, I'm going to do that. Just shoot me a quick message and let me know what resonated with you. That way I can continue helping you propel your equity to new heights for the benefit of you and your family. We appreciate you, and I hope you make it a great day.